Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. And we've got a little bit of an update on some of this drone stuff that's going on the East Coast and apparently now going on a little bit on the West Coast as well. So let's see if we have any answers or what the heck is going on. All right, let's check it out. Let's do it.
All right, let's dig deeper on this. Let's bring in Republican New Jersey Senator John Bramnick for more on this. Were you in that meeting just a little while ago that Governor Murphy was supposed to attend but didn't show up to?
Joke.
I was there. I did not know whether Murphy was supposed to be there or not, but I can tell you, after sitting in that meeting, I'm more concerned than I ever have been about these drones.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you share the same sentiments as Assemblyman Brian Bergen, who said that he came to that meeting to have his concerns allayed, but instead his concerns are only now heightened. So we just heard from the Pentagon that there's no Iranian mothership off the coast of the United States that's launching these drones.
Yeah, I don't. That seems a little far-fetched. That they would be able to do that, or even have the capabilities to do that, if those capabilities even exist. But apparently these drones are like pretty big, like 6-7 feet across, and they stay up in the air for like some reports I've heard like 6 to 7 hours or something. Like I guess basically all night. But man, I can't. I don't understand why there is so much what's the word I'm looking for? Just like people just like no one's saying anything about it. If it was a foreign adversary, you would think that they'd be like, yeah, it's China or Russia or somebody like that. But then you think if it was that they would send jets up there right away or whatever weapons we have to just take these things out like ASAP. You know, I don't think that the government would be that careless. I think it's personally some military op that's going on, and you know, obviously people can see them, but they're just like plain stupid, you know, with the American people. Oh, I mean, the only other thing that could be, if it's not our adversaries, which would be mind-boggling, that they haven't shot them down yet. It's and if it's not us, then I mean the only other option would be like UAPs, right? UFOs, aliens, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know what's more terrifying.
There was some information that they might have come in from the ocean, but maybe that was tied together with this idea of a mothership. So that's off the table. So I guess everybody's back to square one now.
Well, let me be clear. The state police, this is way beyond their expertise.
Yeah.
And I could see Colonel Callahan was frustrated.
Yeah.
He had somebody from Homeland Security. All due respect, Homeland Security is not the Department of Defense. We know the Department of Defense has the technology to monitor these drones. We see being shot down in the Middle East and in Ukraine.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't have the Department of Defense in New Jersey at this time. And that's what I
come on.
And until that Department of Defense comes in, shut down the airspace completely to drones, into a limited state of emergency, no drones in the sky until we figure out what's going on here. But without the Department of Defense, we will have no information because the technology is way beyond state officials.
Yeah, so we have to wonder what the governor of the state is doing at this moment. This is what Phil Murphy said about the drones recently. Listen here.
These are apparently very, as I understand it, very sophisticated.
Yeah, they have to
the
be.
minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. And, you know, we're obviously most concerned about sensitive targets and sensitive critical infrastructure. So we've got military assets, we've got utility assets, we've got the president-elect's one of his homes here.
All right, so he's saying that, but at the same time he says, oh, but these are not a threat to public safety.
Right.
And you got to sit back and say to yourself, well, how does he know that if he has no clue where these drones are coming from?
Exactly.
Or who's operating them? And then there's the question of why doesn't he pick up the phone and call his buddy down the street from us at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and say, Mr. President, I would appreciate it if you would activate the U.S. military to look into this. But
there's no way the military does not know about this. Like I said, it's either It can only be three things: us, them, or the other, being UFOs. You know, when I was, I've flown drone. I have a drone, and I have to have special licensing on top of my certification to fly my drone. But you have to have special licensing, at least you used to fly at night. So, I mean, and if I didn't, because my drone was DJI or is DJI, and I mean they geolocate that, and if it's night, they know if it's nighttime, and I'm trying to fly at night, and if I don't have that certification, guess what? My drone doesn't even turn on. So this is really kind of crazy that these things are flying at night. They're huge, which definitely poses a threat to other planes in the area, other helicopters, like anything that should be flying in that airspace. I don't know how high up there. It looks like they're above 400 feet, which is another thing because at ground level, you can only go up to 400 feet legally. So that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, this is really kind of, it's mind-boggling.
As far as we know, he hasn't done that.
Well, those were the questions asked. How can you say this is not a threat? There's no safety concerns when there's no evidence whatsoever that these drones are safe. With respect to the White House, absolutely, Governor Murphy,
that looks like
his
a plane.
Administration, and I've reached out to the Murphy administration.
That looks like a straight up plane.
The Department of Defense to get in here and get in here quickly. Now, Jeff Van Drew is the congressman. He's raised a serious issue. He's not the kind of guy who's just going to make stuff up. So based on what Van Drew said, based on what the public's saying, based on what I know and I heard today, Department of Defense needs to come in immediately, track these drones, find out where they're coming from and what they're doing here. This is no joke. This is serious stuff. And what most is concerning is I, as a person, would have thought that there's drones the size of SUVs in the sky, Air Force, military. Somebody would know about it other than the citizens calling the FBI.
Yeah.
That's pretty unsettling.
You know, I heard somebody was saying like, oh, the local police or whatever have like, I don't know, it's like 1,200, phone calls a night or whatever. And there's no way that they could track them all. But the point was made. It's like, we don't need to track them all. Just track one of them because they go someplace during the day. There are reports that they're heading towards the ocean. So just track one of them and see where the heck they're going. We can have eyeballs on that. We've got satellites. I mean, come on. This is absolutely ridiculous that the government's saying they have no clue of what these things are or where they're going we're not stupid. I mean, they think we're totally stupid, but somebody in the government knows. And for whatever reason, they're not telling us. And that needs to stop.
Well, it is possible that somebody knows exactly what's going on, but they're just not saying or telling state officials.
What I just said.
For the moment,
if they don't know, they're pretty good at faking it. I'll tell you that, because I sat in that meeting and they looked frustrated when I talk about the state police and the Homeland Security. They did not act like they knew something and they were covering it up.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. If they do know something and covering it up, that's one big issue. But if they don't know what's going on, I think that's an even bigger issue. Senator, good to catch up with you. Thank you. We'll see if we can get to the bottom of this. It certainly is intriguing.
I hope so.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, man, that's something's going to have to happen soon. Trump just came out and said that if the government isn't totally transparent with this issue, that we just need to they need to be shot down. And I agree. I mean, this is not a normal drone. They're super huge, for one thing. And the other thing is, if they can stay up there for like 6 to 7 hours at a time, that sounds like military grade drone technology, in my, opinion. So, and the other thing is that if these drones are that big, they can carry weapons and other things very easily. So that's a whole nother element that people aren't really talking about if it is a foreign adversary. All right. Well, if you like this video, please consider subscribing, and please leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, until the next video, stay safe, know that you're appreciated and loved, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.